Yes? Hanuman and that little squirrel. Hanuman was doing big things. The squirrel was doing little things. From a mundane competitive platform, Hanuman defeated the squirrel. But from Ram's position, he didn't. He sees our intent. The Lord sees our purpose, how we're trying to please him. The squirrel was doing 100% his capacity, as was Hanuman. In Ram's perspective, they both win. It's equal. He sees our love. He doesn't see the thing. He sees the love, the intention in which it is offered. So, they're fighting. If they were Vaishnavas, it would be a completely opposite fight. The nectar would be there, and someone would say, Prabhu, you take it first. He said, no. He would say, no, you take it first. You're more qualified than me. Then somebody else would say, no, you take it first. Well, then they both say, well, why doesn't he take it first? And so he said, no, actually she should take it first. No, this is Vaishnava society. Not me, I, me. But we're thinking about you. We're thinking about we. So here it is. They have all the secret of success and power in their hands, and they can't even assimilate it because they're so envious of each other. And the demigods, they can't do anything. They're just standing there watching the demons blaspheming each other and fighting each other and really hating each other over this nectar. Can you imagine? They hate each other. So the Lord knows exactly. He knows everyone's strength and everyone's weakness. Mayadhyakshena prakriti suyate sacharacharam. Material nature is under the control of Krishna. Maya is his external energy. Inferior energy. And Maya knows exactly what is our strengths and what is our weaknesses, and she may nourish your strengths and nourish your strengths and nourish your strengths so that your ego gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, but then she knows exactly what your weakness is, and she knows how to crush you. Everyone, expert. Very serious pastime. But she's very beautiful. Everything about her is just perfect. Physically, emotionally, everything. Just her glances, her smiles, her movements, totally captivated the egos of the demons. They looked at her, and she looked at them. She looked at each one of them. And each one of them was thinking, by her glance, she loves me. And because of that sense that she loves me, of all these powerful heroes, she sees my prowess. She sees how handsome I am. She sees my accomplishments. She's in love with me. And therefore, because they thought that she honored and had such deep affection for them, their egos were so totally stimulated by that glance that they had complete faith in her. Hare Krishna. And then all the demons, now they're united on the higher principle. They were fighting. They were united to get nectar, and then when they got it, they were fighting over who drinks it first. And now they're united on the higher principle that they all agreed that whatever Mohini says is right. And I know what she says because she loves me. She just went right to the very core of their false egos. And they didn't know it. But beyond their false egos, they were actually completely attracted to Krishna. The only reason we're attracted to anybody or anything in the entire creation is because it's a spark of Krishna. And Krishna is a complete whole. Can we imagine how attractive he is? So the demons are actually, their hearts, their souls are stirred because they're being attracted by God, but because of their egoistic mentality, they don't realize it's God. They're just attracted. And each is thinking, that glance convinced them that she loved only them, that one person. And their egos were really, really out of control. She loves me. Every one of my brothers is mad after her, but she only loves me. Now, from the pure devotional perspective, when Krishna is sitting on the bank of Yamuna with the cowherd boys, the gopas, each gopa thinks Krishna's only looking at me. And they're in a circle around him. It's described like lotus flower, and Krishna is the whirl of the lotus flower, and all the gopas are petals in a circle around him. There's 4, and then there's 8, and 16, and 32, and 64, and then there's hundreds and thousands of gopas. They're all sitting around Krishna eating lunch. And Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita explains that every gopa is thinking Krishna's only looking at me. And when Krishna was dancing with gopis in the forest of Brajbhumi, on the bank of Yamuna, during his Ras Leela, each gopi is thinking Krishna's only dancing with me. Of all these other gopis, he's only with me. But it didn't create envy. It created gratitude. That's the spiritual world. But Mohini-murti, on a very, very different level, she played the same kind of trick. Each asura is thinking she loves only me. She's looking at me. Even if she looks at the others, they would see the glance of the others as, not like when she looks at me. But they're all thinking that way. And then they all unanimously agree, we are all brothers of Kashyapa Muni, we're all on the same team as Asuras, but we're fighting, there's enmity, there's inimicalness between us so bad because we all want to drink this nectar first. There's a major crisis in our dynasty, and only you could solve it. You decide who drinks the nectar first. Because they were all absolutely convinced that she would choose them. And she just speaks the truth. She said, you don't even know who I am, where I'm coming from, what my family, I'm just wandering alone here. I could be a prostitute. You don't know anything. How could you put so much faith in me? And the amazing thing is they thought she was joking. This is how covered over they were. She was just telling them as it is exactly what was going to happen. But they couldn't hear. Just like so many instructions, we hear from Prabhupada so many things, beautiful things, but when we become enamored or infatuated by the ego and by Maya, we can't hear. lust and envy and anger and pride and greed, when we become under the influence of these things, even if it's told directly to us through the books or through another devotee exactly what's going to happen if you don't do something about this, we can't hear because we're intoxicated. Krishna showed Duryodhana the Virat Rupa, but he couldn't see because he was so envious. He was so egoistic. He still thought he could defeat Krishna after seeing the Virat Rupa. That's how powerful Maya is. So she's telling him the straight out truth, and they're laughing. Oh. So nice. Your words are so full of sweetness. And then they all came, they're fighting over the nectar, they all together give the nectar to her and said, you decide, because we have complete faith in you only. So what she did next is fascinating. She just smiled and started talking to all the demons. Very sweet talk, very nice talk. In other words, I'm giving myself to you. I'm giving my association to you. And she was just talking and talking and talking, and in her talks, it was just charming, enchanting them. And then in her talk, she said, listen, you are big, self-controlled heroes. You're great yogis of the highest platform. So, you can tolerate a little inconvenience, but these demigods, they're nothing. They're just, they're all just little agitated guys. So they can't wait. I'm going to distribute a little bit of nectar to them, because they're so agitated and they're so, they can't control their senses. And then I'm going to come back and I'm going to give the massive portion to you. Right? Again, she was playing with their false egos to defeat them. That's how Krishna, through Maya, defeats us, by playing with our false egos, by infatuating us. So they were, yes, those. We are yogis, we can wait. We are self-controlled. Go and give a little nectar to those neophytes. I'm putting my own words to it, but that's the spirit of what's happening here. So she goes over and she starts giving the nectar to the demigods, and the demons are just sitting there. Well, first, actually, it was a big thing that Mohini-murti is going to distribute the nectar. So just to make it completely auspicious, they all went and took their baths. And they put on flower garlands and ornaments, and they started doing yajnas to make everything very, ritualistically auspicious. And then they all sat. And Mohini-murti had the demigods sit a distance away. And she was right there associating with the demons and talking to them and glancing at them and laughing with them and smiling with them and capturing their minds. And then he said, you are all such heroes. You are all so self-controlled. You have attracted my heart so much by these qualities. But as a formality, we have to give something to the demigods. So let me just give to them first, because they can't wait. It's like, on a completely transcendental platform, when Prabhupada would give out cookies, he would always give it to the children first. Yes, because they can't wait. So Mohini-murti went over to the demigods. They were in a distant place, and the demons were watching very proudly. Very proudly. And then they saw she was giving large amounts to each demigod. She was giving huge amounts to each demigod, but the demons didn't want to displease her. So they didn't say anything. They didn't do anything. They just sat there and watched as all the nectar was... Only Rahu was very much intelligent among the demons in this way, and he disguised himself as a devata and opened his mouth as Mohini-murti. They were just opening their mouths, and she was pouring it in each mouth. And Rahu poured. And then the sun, the Chandra and Surya, they recognized him. This is actually a Asura in disguise as a demigod. And Sudarshan Chakra came and cut his head off. But his head lasted forever because it drank the nectar. But she cut it off before it went below his neck. The rest of his body was dead. This is another thing. We can fool people around us, but we can never fool Krishna, because he's seeing from within. He sees our intentions, he sees our motives, he sees why. He doesn't see what we do, he sees why we do it. And it's that why that distinguishes a karmi from a Vaishnava. It's the what as well as the why. The what is incomplete without the why, and the why is incomplete without the what. We have to have the right intentions, but then we have to actually express that intentions through our actions and our words. So Rahu got his. All the demigods, until the very last drop of the pot was emptied into the mouths of the demigods. And the demons were still watching, wondering, what's she going to do for me? She loves me. She has to do something for me. And then the culmination of the whole story, where Mohini-murti changes her form into Vishnu. The ultimate arch enemy of the demons. And she gets on Garuda and flies away. Finished. That's the end of the story. So in this way, the demigods ultimately got what Krishna promised them, but not without a lot of challenges, a lot of which required patience, perseverance, and faith. Manmana bhavamad bhakto madhyashimnam namaskuru mameveshashi satyam te pratijani priyoshime. Krishna promised each and every one of us, you will come to me without fail. I will give you ecstatic love of God. You will come to my abode to live eternally in my pastimes. Just always think of me, become my devotee, worship me, and offer your homage unto me, which means just follow the path of bhakti. Srila Prabhupada gave a promise on behalf of Krishna. Just chant your 16 rounds attentively, guard against the 10 offenses, follow these 4 regulative principles, and live by the character and qualities of what he has given us in his books. And guaranteed in this life we can attain the perfection. It's the promise. So we accept the promise. But there will be challenges. these challenges, and apparent extreme reversals come in every devotee's life. Sometimes even it seems hopeless, it's so far away because our anarthas are so strong. But if we just persevere with patience and faith, Rupa Goswami explains two qualities of surrender are enthusiasm and patience. That's what we find in this story. Krishna is expecting enthusiasm to perform our duties. In our case, it's to follow the principles of bhakti. Enthusiasm to serve, enthusiasm to chant, enthusiasm to hear, enthusiasm to associate, enthusiasm to worship, but with patience. Because we may not feel anything. We may even feel the opposite. And opposite things may be happening to us. But we have enthusiasm. And we have patience. And we can only have that enthusiasm and patience if we have faith. Faith in the promise. Faith in the prospect. And that faith comes by hearing and chanting in the association of devotees. It's critical. It's foundational. And whatever twists and turns the spiritual path may take, in the end, it's 100% guaranteed. If we just remain faithful, the nectar awaits us. But without the challenges, we may not even appreciate it if it comes. Krishna has a purpose, a divine, brilliant, expert purpose, a perfect purpose for putting us through the challenges of life. And in the end, Shri Radha Gopinath removed the curtain of our own egos that stand between us and bestow their merciful, all-beautiful darshan, which is the supreme nectar of all nectar. And then we could truly taste the sweetness of their holy name.